Hey, we're Broken World Entertainment, and the release of Deadpool and Wolverine is soon upon us. And we are starting to get a lot of information coming out because they are doing fan events and stuff where they're showing the first, I would say few minutes, but it turns out they're showing the first 35 minutes. And we're getting a lot of leaks from all this. So this video will be, as you saw from the thumbnail, you can see there, will contain spoilers. And what is this video about? Well, it's being, somewhat confirmed. You know, I think we'll still take it with a bit of grain of salt. But this is supposed to be all confirmed variants of Wolverine that will appear in the movie. And they don't just appear in the movie, they appear in the first 35 minutes of the movie. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, what the variants are, some of them we already know because we've seen in the trailers. Yes, we've actually seen in the trailers. There's some very strange choices as well. But if you don't want to know, you can skip the video now, you know. Wait till you see the movie, then you can come back and see if we got them right or not. But you're being warned now. This is a spoiler video, so if you don't want to know who and what the variants are of Wolverine for this movie, you got 5 seconds to click off the video. So here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, full spoilers. At least possible spoilers, because we're not 100% sure whether this is true or not, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. So the first one is Logan himself, as in Logan who died in Logan. So it says Deadpool's first port of call is his own reality where he visits Logan's grave from the 2017 movie of the same name. Convinced the mutant didn't die, he does have a healing factor after all. The Merc digs him up and is disappointed to find only the adamantium skeleton and rotten flesh. Still, Wolverine comes in handy because Wade proceeds to use his bones and claws to brutally kill some pursuing TVA agents. While Deadpool and Wolverine leaves Logan well alone, the movie still desecrates the hero's resting place. So you're hearing there that he goes into the woods. So clearly that moment we see in the trailer when he's fighting in the woods with the TVA, that's obviously at this gravesite. It is a bit shitty that they've decided to do that. I'm sure it's done in a fun way and stuff, if digging up a grave can actually be done in a fun way, but I still think it's a bit shitty that, you know, the one worry people had with Hugh Jackman coming back was, is he going to ruin the legacy of Logan and that final farewell? And the fact that you're going to have Deadpool go in and dig him up and then use his remains to fight the TVA. Yeah, I don't know how well that's going to work, especially for audiences. So that is the first one. The second one that's going to appear is a comic accurate Wolverine. Now what does that mean? Well, of course, one of the complaints all along when Hugh Jackman first got announced as Wolverine was his height. That he was 6'4". At least he's meant to be 6'4". It says he's only 6'2" in this article. I'm pretty sure he's 6'4". Either way, he's well over the height that Wolverine actually is in the comics, because Wolverine is actually only 5'3" in the comics. He's tiny. And it says, well, the trequel addresses that by using visual effects to shrink Jackman down to his correct size, leaving Reynolds' Deadpool to tower over him by an entire foot. At long last, we'll all get to see just how dwarf it would be to stick too closely to the comics with Wolverine. So you're hearing there that they are going to give you this very short version of Wolverine. Hope the CGI works out for that one, because we know Marvel's track record as of late with CGI. Now this next one we know is in there. However, there was conflicting reports on who was actually portraying him, and this article gives us some, or at least they're saying who portrays him. And we are of course talking about Patch, the variant of Wolverine that has an eye patch and the white tuxedo suit. So here's what it says about this. So it says, despite speculation that Daniel Radcliffe will play Patch in Deadpool and Wolverine, Jackman takes on the role and dons the white tuxedo and eye patch. Now the interesting thing about that statement, and that they're saying, oh no, Hugh Jackman actually plays every variant of Wolverine in the movie. There's no other people. They're saying Daniel Radcliffe was spoken about as being the one to portray him. We were all hearing that was actually Henry Cavill. That was this version of Patch. It still might be. For all we know, they could have done this. Like, let's face it, Daniel Radcliffe could actually be the comic book version of Wolverine. They may have done a bit of CGI so they don't give away the cameos. So it's very, because from everything that's been said, Henry Cavill is the version of Wolverine that is Patch. So are they showing them footage that is actually altered to kind of hide the fact that when you're sitting in a cinema, it's gonna be Henry Cavill? It's very, very possible. But as I said, we'll take a lot of this with a pinch of salt. But they're saying that Hugh Jackman is that version of Patch. But again, this is talking about Patch being in the movie, and of course we knew he was in the movie because he's in the trailer. This next version, I don't really understand, but it's Old Man Logan. And the reason I don't understand it is because basically the movie Logan was Old Man Logan. So it's saying in this, when Jackman announced he would hang up his claws after one final movie as Wolverine at Comic-Con in 2015, he had 3 words for fans: Old Man Logan. Logan wasn't quite what we expected and ended up being a far cry from a faithful adaptation of Mark Millar's and Stephen McNevins' classic comic book story. Deadpool and Wolverine will make that right. At one point, Wade encounters the true Old Man Logan wearing a hat and sitting on a porch, Clint Eastwood style. For people who don't know, Old Man Logan was basically a Western. He was literally in like cowboy hat, trench coat and stuff like that. So it is interesting that they're gonna kind of give you that version. And I wouldn't be surprised if all these versions, either Wolverine that's going to be in this movie, our main Wolverine, or Deadpool himself, just ends up killing them all, you know, accidentally or something. Don't know. We'll find out. This next one is a strange one. So it says the Reavers Wolverine. So what's the Reavers Wolverine? Well, it says one of the most surprising nods to the comic comes when Wolverine variant is shown crucified on a giant X. In the comics, Donald Pierce and his Reavers, including Lady Deathstrike, were responsible for one of Logan's greatest defeats. And it's interesting that Deadpool and Wolverine is paying homage to this relatively obscure moment. However, seeing as this came during Chris Claremont's Uncanny X-Men run, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised. This is also a clever way to show just how bad some timelines are. So, apparently we're going to see a variant of Wolverine crucified on this big X. Now this next one is, it's not really a variant because it is the version of Wolverine we're getting in the movie, the main version. But it's who he's fighting. And this was leaked. If you've watched Nerdrotic, you probably know this already because he found out and let it slip. Because that moment in the trailer when they said, this is the fight people have been waiting for 20 years and whatnot. And of course the trailer makes it look like it's the rematch of Wolverine versus Sabretooth. And that's not the case. We are in fact talking about Wolverine versus Hulk. Now, the question is, what version of Hulk? And we don't seem to know all that much. So it says in what's sure to be one of the... Oh, by the way, this report is actually quite disappointing as well regarding this. So it says, in what's sure to be one of the movie's most fan-pleasing moments, a Wolverine wearing his classic brown and tan costume is shown about to square off with the Hulk. They don't actually fight as far as we are aware, but this pays homage to Logan's first appearance in The Incredible Hulk number 181. And then it says, however, in that Wolverine was wearing a very early iteration of his iconic blue and yellow duds. If this is the only way to get his other suit into Deadpool and Wolverine, though, we don't complain. So he's going to have the yellow and brown suit, which was like the middle part was brown, if I remember correctly. Actually, I think Sideshow has up a pre-order for I think it's a 1 in 6 Wolverine in that brown and yellow suit at the moment. But everything was indicating that they were actually going to have this big fight sequence. And by the sounds of it, they don't actually fight. And I think that will piss people off if they don't. Now, this next one is an incredibly strange one. The Glam Rock Wolverine. Yeah. So it says, yeah, I don't know. So it says, in one of the more confusing cameos we've heard about, it said we'll see a Wolverine with incredibly glam rock-like hair and a black wrestler-style costume. We believe this is a nod to the hero's 90s adventures and likely similar to what you see above, which is this weird-ass image. Why is that in there? We have absolutely no idea. And it says it sounds like some cuts were made during the 35-minute preview screening, and if this really is a glam rock Wolverine, then we'd imagine this will be where Taylor Swift makes a cameo appearance as Dazzler. By the way, from everything I've been hearing and other people have been hearing and sharing, she doesn't actually play Dazzler in this movie. So, don't know. But you hear there how they say there's cuts and edits made to the 35 minutes. We can go back again to the whole, is it Henry Cavill as Patch? Is it Daniel Radcliffe maybe as comic accurate Wolverine? Don't know. And the last variant that we know of is in fact called the New Wolverine, and that is the Wolverine that's in the movie. Yeah, the classic yellow and blue suit in all the trailers, that version. And he's not just called the New Wolverine, he's in fact the Drunk Wolverine. Yeah, so it says for him, it says the Drunk Wolverine approached by Deadpool in the trailers is indeed the variant who takes center stage in the story. As for why Way chooses to recruit this particular Logan, it's because he has the classic blue and yellow suit beneath his civilian clothes, debunking those theories about the TVA making that for him. I never heard that the TVA was meant to make the suit. Unfortunately, Wolverine isn't deemed a suitable replacement for the Logan who died on the Merc with the Mouth's world, as he did something to fail his entire reality. So that is your entire slate of variants of Wolverine. Supposedly. You know, there could be more, and again, this is only the first 35 minutes, again, supposedly. So there's plenty of time, well, there's not plenty of time, but there's possibly more in there. And of course, once again, there are a couple of versions in here that we've all heard are different versions that aren't Hugh Jackman, such as Patch. But we'll have to wait and see. So, there is this spoiler video for at least possible spoilers for possible variants of Wolverine in at least the first half hour of the movie, or at least a half hour of the movie. So, with that, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think there's more variants? Do you think these aren't going to be the true variants? Do you think Hugh Jackman won't be portraying all of them? Let us know in the comments if you're still here watching this video because it's a spoilery one. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So cheers, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.